Good evening and welcome to the Laverne Planning Commission meeting. It is October 29th, 2024. It is 6 p.m. Call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. First order of business will be to approve the minutes from the September 24th, 2024 regular meeting and the October 15th, 2024 workshop.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We did not have anyone sign up for the public comment period. Moving on to old business, recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for subdivision acceptance, Carothers Crossing, Phase 2. The property is located off of Carothers Road, requested by SEC Incorporated, PDR, Planned Density Residential Zoning District. Mr. Logan.
This item has decided to defer.
This item has been deferred, so moving on to number 4, site plan, Laverne Business Center, Lot 1, building totaling 184,000 square feet on 12.2 acres, requested by Kimberly Horn. Property located at 1701 Mars Street, tax map 14, parcels 46.01 and 25. I-1, Light Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Big Acquisitions, LLC. Mr. Logan.
So this is a request for site plan approval for the Laverne Business Center, and this is Lot 1, one of 2 lots on tonight's agenda. You see the property there in the center of the screen. This property is zoned I-1, light industrial, and it's north of Murfreesboro Road, but the direct access is Minerva Drive and Moore Street, and you'll be hearing about those streets a little bit later tonight in the next items, but this is a proposal for 184,000 square feet of industrial space. It will be 2 buildings total, but this is Lot 1 and Building 1. And the neighbor there to the northwest on this image is the Carter Lumber and the Kite Home Center, which are accessed off Dick Buchanan Street. So they're neighboring properties, but they have different streets to use for access. So this is the zoning map. This light blue color is where we're looking. It's I-1 light industrial. And here's some photos. This is Minerva. And part of this project is that Minerva would be widened and improved. And this is another photo of the property. It's a heavily wooded site. As you can see in the photos, this photograph is looking back to the southwest toward Murfreesboro Road, and again, this is down Minerva Drive. So this image shows the proposed lot. So we're looking at the left side of the image, which is Lot 1, and then Lot 2 will be covered in the next item. So again, this lot is roughly 12.2 acres, and the building that they're proposing is 184,000 square feet. This site plan shows you how the driveway and the parking areas will be arranged. They do have 143 parking spaces, 48 trailer parks for this building. There is a 50-foot landscape buffer also that you may have noticed on the plans. So that 50-foot landscape buffer will be between any residential and industrial area. And that completes the report. I believe there are no outstanding technical items. So thank you.
Gary, anything from you?
No, sir. They addressed all our comments. They did include the profiles, but everything they're doing is in accordance with the ordinances and regulations.
Okay. Open it up to the board. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?
I was going to comment is that I think it's a poor status affair that we have the sidewalk on the incorrect side of the road. That's my comment.
Okay. Do we have a representative for the applicant? you would please state your name and address for the record?
Deaton Hildebrand, 2127 Melody Drive, Franklin, Tennessee. I believe that was the comment directed towards the off-site roadway plans on the side.
It's both lot 1, 2, and it's basically the next 3 items, but this one is lot 1, number 1. And I'm just referring to the homes on one side of the street and you put the sidewalk on the opposite side of the street.
Yes, so we, in discussions, and I believe with the conceptual plan, we left it on the plan west side to minimize disturbance to the homeowners on that side. I think talking it through, it was decided that we only needed sidewalk on one side of the street, and so I think it was that conceptual plan, it was decided that we were going to keep the sidewalk on the plan west side to minimize disturbance to those homeowners and just impacts of construction on with those properties.
I appreciate the sidewalk, but my comment would be, was it because of the neighbours on the street or the cost of putting it on the neighbour's side of the street?
I mean, the section, if we needed to put the sidewalk on, we could revise the section, and it'd be, at this point, it'd be kind of, the section we've gone with is with on the plan west side, and once we held a concept plan, and then if we continue through the site plan, it would take, not sure how to impact all the grading, but it'd be the same width of the section. So with that, we'd have to go back and revisit. I'm not sure if we could fit it in the same amount of room, but just with the direction in the section that was, to my knowledge, approved a concept plan and showed the sidewalk there. That's why we kept it there through the site plan process.
I do appreciate your answer, but you didn't answer the question. Cost.
I'm not sure, as far as,
Yeah, I can jump in here. Thank you, Graham. I'm Andrew Mazey with Big Acquisitions, the developer of the project. So when we were deciding, really designing at the concept level, which side to put it on, there was a big, we were looking at the slopes on how the Alvan property and the residential property, we didn't want to create a damming situation. So if the sidewalk were on the resident side, it actually could create, that's a low area. That side of the street, it's lower than the Alvan area, so it would have potentially created a ponding situation. So we didn't want to minimize that. Also, Alvan was open to putting the sidewalk on their side of the street, and so that helped. They wanted a sidewalk on their side of the street, and there's going to be a lot of development, or a lot of activity on that street now, so that contributed to it as well. But really, we didn't want to create a ponding situation on the neighbors on the east side of the street.
But if you're engineering there to your left, obviously he can, he has lots of ways of moving ponding areas. But anyway, I understand what you're trying to get at. I just disagree that it's on the wrong side of the street. I'm just trying to make a point. And for me, it would appear that it's a cost, and not just for the citizens, but it's more the cost to you versus the cost of the citizens. Just trying to make a point.
Okay, appreciate it.
Any other questions?
This conversation happened a while back. When it came to curbing, do we have, let's say, curbs on both sides, or I'm trying to, okay, and
No.
that was for some stormwater management situation? Again, just want to.
yeah, so with, going back to what Andrew mentioned earlier, the east side of the road is kind of the downstream side of the road there. So on the west side, that's where we have the curb and gutter section, and we're putting in the storm pipe as required. So with that, the best way to protect the pedestrians was also to keep it on the side with the curb and gutter there. Currently, it's just a ditch section on both sides. So again, to minimize impacts to those homeowners, on the right-hand side, we didn't put the sidewalk there because it's a ditch section.
Okay.
And so
So curbing and sidewalk is not on the homeowner side?
correct.
Okay. Is there going to be like a crosswalk or anything? Just to maybe address, just, you have those crosswalks where it's just a crosswalk and you push the little button and then all of a sudden you get the lights that light up and hopefully people stop, but, sometimes they don't. But would that be something to get the homeowners from this side of the street to cross safely?
Are you thinking of that at the Murfreesboro Road junction, or where are you thinking?
Yeah, right in the middle. I mean, just to be blunt. And again, it's just, it's flashing lights when you push the button, and you hope people stop.
At the Murfreesboro Road intersection, we're putting in a traffic signal
Yeah, I
there,
do
and
know
so it should have a crosswalk. I don't have the plans in front of me, but it should have a crosswalk and allow the pedestrians to continue on, to cross over and along the sidewalk section there.
Just thinking out loud.
Any other questions? Okay, with that, take a motion to approve or deny.
A motion to approve is submitted.
Okay, have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Moving on to number 5, site plan, Laverne Business Center, Lot 2, building total 167,200 square feet on 16.05 acres, requested by Kimberly Horn. Property located at 1701 Mars Street, tax map 14, parcels 46.01 and 25, I-1 Light Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Big Acquisitions LLC. Mr. Logan.
So this is the second request for site plan approval at this site, and this is Lot 2. Lot 2 proposes a building of 167,200 square feet. You see the property there on the screen again. And zoning map again, so this is I-1 Light Industrial. I'll cruise through these photos since I think we've all seen them. So on this proposal, you can see now we're dealing with the parcel to the right. So this is 16.05 acres. And again, the building proposed is a little over 167,000 square feet. So on this one, they're proposing 135 parking places and 45 trailer parks for tractor trailers. You can see, again, that same 50-foot buffer is shown here at the top. I think it's right there. It says 50-foot landscape buffer. So the applicant is proposing that for the entire site, that for the parts that touch any residential or agricultural zoning. And again, there's no comments from staff, so we'll be happy to answer any questions. Thanks.
Was the fire department outstanding item, the FDC, addressed? The fire hydrant?
As far as I know, talking to Fire Marshal Brinkley, all the things have been addressed so far in this.
Okay, and can you confirm?
Yes, we added a private hydrant within 100 feet of the FDC. We have a private fire loop, so we just added the hydrant pretty much adjacent to the FDC.
Okay, and then this is just more so that the public is aware both of these buildings are sprinkled buildings.
I believe so.
We haven't engaged a fire protection engineer yet, but it's our assumption that they will be sprinkled buildings.
Yeah, based on the square footage.
Yeah, square footage and things like that. So.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? With that, I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve is submitted.
A motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second and a third. All in favor? Aye.
No.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to number 6, off-site roadway improvements, Laverne Business Center. Off-site roadway improvements proposed for Minerva and Murfreesboro Road. Mr. Logan.
I'll go ahead and turn this over to Mr. Lyde. Thanks.
All right, we've reviewed this against the comments we've received before in the previous vote of the Planning Commission, and we have no outstanding comments.
Okay. Can you, Gary, can you give us just a quick summary of the improvements?
Certainly. Bo, one more. That's it. Oop, back.
That one, okay.
All right, so this is the section of Minerva Drive. It's going to have 3 lanes, a turn lane, and then a through and a right turn lane. Here's the shoulder section on the plan east, as Mr. Hilderent calls it, or the right side. And here's the curb and gutter section with the sidewalk protected behind it on the plan west side. And they're going to have this along with the traffic signal in Murfreesboro Road.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
Yeah, if the representative could, I know you had mentioned something about stormwater management and how you'd be helping the homeowners on that side of the street. So what's going to happen there to help them out?
Yes, so we worked with staff during the design process, and I don't know if you've driven the road, there's signs that, the road is subject to flooding.
Yes.
The stream through it is, there's floodway and floodplain through there. So to help meet the code requirements, and what we talked through with Gary was we are increasing the size of the culvert underneath the road. So to do that, we need to raise the road up at the low point to accommodate the taller culvert. So we're raising the road, I believe it's 3 feet at that low point. So it's going to focus water through the channel instead of what we believe is currently happening. We talked it through with Gary. We think that road is overtopping fairly frequently down in the smaller storm events, and now should be passing, through the code requirement, which was, I believe, is a 25-year event, is going through the culvert through there.
And, I mean, it'll be diverted toward the curb and into storm?
Yes, so on the curb side, we'll have a underground storm network, and so it'll be piped, and then, as you can kind of see on the section there, it'll be piped and hit a ditch on the Plan West side, and then be directed towards the stream.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Using tractor trailers and having the width that they're designed, I believe that there's going to be some issues with the junction of getting tractor trailers in and out that junction, even with the traffic light. It would be nice to have the lanes wider to facilitate the tractor trailers that will be coming out that road.
How wide are they currently? 12,
14 feet,
14?
not counting curb or gutter or shoulder or anything, just the striped lane.
But the new design will be with the 3 lanes there,
Oh.
the in and the 2 outs, there'll be 12.
Sorry, I misspoke. The existing road is not anywhere near this width. It's, the proposed lanes are 14 feet wide. I believe the existing road is around, at best, 24 feet wide in total, but it's probably closer to around 20 feet wide.
But there are, as you approach Murfreesboro Road, 3 12-foot lanes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Gary, what are your thoughts on that?
12-foot lanes are the AASHTO standard for a road, for any road, including an interstate. So they've done the turning template research, and it looks like they're in good shape and much, much, much better than it is now.
What's the proposed speed limit on that road gonna be? Is it gonna stay the same, or?
The AASHTO standards would allow it to be faster, but the city's not going to make it any faster.
Okay, good.
It should be somewhere in the plan,
Could
keeping
not.
the speed as is out there on the
Okay.
road.
Any other questions? Okay, with that, I'll accept a motion.
Motion to approve is submitted?
We have a motion to accept as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Moving on to number 7, site plan, Sorani Tire Shop, 2 storage facilities of 690 and 304 square feet on .33 acres. This is requested by Chet Rhodes. Property located at 187 Old Nashville Highway, tax map 15M, Group A, Parcel 2. This is a C2 Highway Services Zoning District. Property is owned by Mr. Sorani. For the board, just so you do know, this did go through the Board of Zoning Appeals earlier this evening and did get approved for its variance. With that, I'll turn this over to Mr. Logan.
So this applicant's requesting site plan approval for an addition to the existing Sorani Tire Shop. And this location is at Old Nashville Highway and George Cheney Street. So you can see there where I'm pointing on the screen. And closer view of the site, you can see the lot is oddly shaped, and that's the main reason that it went to both previously tonight, that it received the variance for the setbacks. So the existing building, there's 2 of them, one here and one to the south. And after several months of working, staff and the applicant working together, they came up with a plan, and I'll show that in the next view here. So the plan is to build an addition to the existing building, which they're calling Building 1. So that addition will be about 1,028 square feet. So this area here, along the northwest side with the neighboring property, is where the variance was granted earlier tonight by the Board of Zoning Appeals. They do plan to keep using the existing buildings as they are. Square footage is about 1,200 on Building 1 and 588 on this building here to the south. They're showing a total of 7 parking spaces, and that meets the city's requirements for parking. You probably noticed or remember they're also installing a 6-foot wide sidewalk around the frontage of the property on George Cheney and Old Nashville. And this site is in the overlay, so they have submitted architectural elevations, so let me move to those. So these are the elevations that they submitted that show the brick that they're proposing for the front and sides of the building. They also will paint the existing building to match the new brick color. So this area here where I'm pointing will be painted to match. Other than that, these meet the city's requirements in the architectural overlay. There's no issue with those. The only staff comments, number 1, was that they needed the variance, which they received earlier tonight. And 2 is just information purposes about the powers of the BOZA versus the Planning Commission, so you can disregard. And that completes the report. Thanks.
Okay, with that, does anyone have any questions? I'll make a motion to accept as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
Second and a third. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to number 8, site plan, Take 5 oil change. New building consisting of 1,750 square feet on 1.28 acres. Requested by Sam Patek, property located at 5265 Murfreesboro Road and Rebecca Way, tax map 15M, Group F, parcel 1.01, C2 Highway Service Zoning District. This property is owned by Jarman Development, LLC. Mr. Logan.
So this request for site plan approval is for the Take 5 oil change. And this is located on Murfreesboro Road. It's at the intersection of Rebecca Way and Murfreesboro Road, and you can see it there on the screen. So Rebecca Way opens up into the apartment complex behind this site. And the zoning on the screen there you can see is red, which is C2 Highway Service. And a closer view of the site, you can see Rebecca Way here, and this is Murfreesboro Road at the bottom. And of course, these apartments, existing apartments, are here to the rear of this property. This site is 1.3 acres. Here's some site photos. So this is taken from Rebecca Way, and Murfreesboro Road is here in the distance. And this is also from Rebecca Way, and this roof line that you barely see behind this grown-up area is the existing grocery store to the southeast. Moving on to the site plan. You can see the proposed building here. It is 1,750 square feet proposed. And then you can see the sidewalk that they're installing along Murfreesboro Road and the tie-in of that sidewalk to the parking area. And they will have ingress egress only off Rebecca Way. There's no direct access to Murfreesboro Road. So you can see that on the plan. Parking is sufficient and does meet the city standards. And this is an overlay also, so they have submitted architectural elevations. And there is a materials board too that Jake has that will show you those. I don't know if they, looks like the elevations are not in this PDF, but they have been, most of you have seen them probably 3 times by now. So they've not changed. Other than that, there's no planning comments. I don't know. It looks like Mr. Lyde has a couple comments.
Okay, would you mind going? Sheet. Well, the utility plan sheet, 6.01.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. All right, we still do have several comments, a couple of them significant. One is that we need more information because we don't know, because there's still a no man's land where we don't have an easement and they don't control the property of how to get this water line from their property to our easement. So we need to make sure that is absolutely wrapped up solid before we can recommend approval. And the other is that there's no fire hydrant within 400 feet of the proposed building at this time. I talked to the utilities engineer. He had several comments, and he was feeling that they should maintain on the comment list for this meeting.
Okay. Do we have a representative for this project? If you'd please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Matt Watterson. Address is 1732 Sorrelbrook Way, Raleigh, North Carolina, 27609.
Sir, have you been able to receive a copy of the items outstanding and review those yet?
I have not seen those to review yet. I was out of the office. Have those been emailed, or will I?
They're on the website, the link I sent you before, but you can have a copy.
That'd be great. Thank you. Yeah, and with that, with the easement for the water line connection, there is a public water line easement there. What we could do is prepare maybe an exhibit that's clear that shows that there's not space between our connection and that existing
Okay,
easement.
well, that would need to be real clear, because our records show that it's about that much distance between your property line and the outside of the easement.
Okay, I'll pull that and blow it up so it's
Okay.
clear to see. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
I wasn't at the workshop, but I mean, with the 2 engineering items, the 8 outstanding items from utilities, I mean, we have a workshop for this.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we don't do contingency, we understand that. And the explanation given by the engineer is limited at best. Our staff's not happy. So with that, I'll make a recommendation to deny due to the 10 outstanding items.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to deny. Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor of denial?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion passes. At this point, it would be denied, and you would just need to get with staff about a resubmittal.
Okay. And one point of clarification for the land disturbance permit, since we are under an acre, would that, given what we've read as far as the ordinances go for the state regulations, would a land disturbance permit still be required through the state?
A land disturbance permit is a city permit, and it would still be required for any land disturbance on a project like this. And you need to get a site plan approval from the planning commission in order to get a land disturbance permit.
Okay. When I was here previously, I believe the discussion was that permit would go through the state. So is there a separate permit process for erosion
It's a
control
grading
that goes
permit.
through?
Yes.
So the city grading permit
So it
is
is a
called a
city-
land disturbance
Yes.
permit.
Okay, so there is no state permit for the grading then, given that we're under
Not
an
a
acre?
state permit for the grading, but since you're less than an acre, you will not have the state NOC or SWIP requirement.
Okay. Excellent. We'll follow up with you on that as well.
Okay, and here's those comments.
Moving on to new business, final plat, Christiana Way, Nassar property, 2 lots on 10.817 acres, requested by W. Scott Williams and Associate. Property located at 102 Cheney Boulevard, tax map 18P, Group B, Parcel 6, R3 High Density Residential Zoning District. Property is owned by George and Christiane Nassar. Mr. Logan.
So on the screen is the subject property for the next development, and it's a proposal for a new multifamily development at Cheney and Old Nashville Highway. So this item is the plat for that project. And on the screen here, you can see this site's been vacant for a number of years. It's a heavily wooded site, and the proposed apartments would go toward the south end of the property. The northern end nearest the three-way stop at Old Nashville and Cheney would not be disturbed with the current plan. Let me move. So this is the zoning. It does have existing R3, which is high-density residential. And there's some photos of the property. So this is from Cheney Boulevard, and the sidewalk that you see here is already in place, of course. And there's another photo, shows the existing sidewalk on Cheney, and the site is behind. So up to this point, this is what has been submitted, and this shows Lot 1 and Lot 2. Total acreage here is, I believe, about 10 acres, give or take. And Lot 2, again, is shown to the north, and it would not be developed, so would stay more or less in its natural state. And then the apartments, if approved, would go on Lot 1 south. And there's no staff comments that planning has, don't think.
Well, on the plat, there's still quite a few outstanding comments on engineering,
Okay,
but the plat is not needed for the site plan to be reviewed.
perfect, okay.
Okay, so engineering, we're on the final plat. So you've got some items down here?
Right, and those have not been addressed. There was no resubmittal on this one. The reasoning by the engineer was that as the site plan works on a whole lot, does not require the final plat, so there was no resubmittal.
Okay, do we have a representative for this project here? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Scott Williams, 4530 Annalee Way, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37921. I'm the engineer on the project. Yeah, we had submitted that to split it into two parcels at one point, and during the process, we were told that we weren't going to need to do that for sake of my client's interests, so we no longer need to split it in two. However, I talked to Bo about pulling it from the Planning Commission, but we might want to consider deferring it, because if there's any easements that need to be recorded as part of the site development, drainage easement for the pond, or possibly, as you'll see, we're going to propose to widen Cheney and Old Nashville Pike. And because of that, there's a little bit of right-of-way that we probably need dedicated, especially at the corner of those, because the old property line came to a corner. It'd be nice to put a radius on it. So it would be good to keep this plat live, just don't approve it at this time and defer it to next month, if that's a possibility with you guys.
Anyone have any questions or comments?
With the non-outstanding items, I mean, and the customer or the clients requested to defer, I mean, we need to address the items. And we also need to keep staff happy, and so if he's made the request for deferral, I'll make a motion to defer.
Our second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to number 11, to number 10, site plan, Christiana Way, 80 apartment units on 10.8 acres requested by W. Scott Williams and Associates, property located at 102 Cheney Boulevard, tax map 18P, Group B, Parcel 6, R3 High Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by George and Christiane Nassar. Mr. Logan.
So this is the site plan request for this site. So they are proposing, and you'll see in the site plan in a moment, 2 different phases, and each of those phases would contain 40 apartment units when completed. And they're also some of those buildings are two-story and some three. But first, let's move to the site. So, again, this is at the three-way stop of Cheney and Old Nashville, and also down Cheney Boulevard to the south. So there's the zoning again. It's quite a bit of R3 zoning along Cheney on both sides. And this photo is looking toward the intersection, so the three-way stop is ahead there in the distance. Moving on to the site plan. So this shows the two phases. Right here you can see phase 2 and phase 1. And phase 1 is to the south, phase 2 to the north. So these are the buildings I mentioned previously. There's a total of 4 apartment buildings, and then the clubhouse is shown here, one-story clubhouse near the center of the property. And they're also showing playground near that clubhouse, as well as another athletic court. And you can see the parking and how it's arranged as well. This project requires 240 parking spaces, and they are proposing 240. And I'm going to go further into the site plan, and you'll see some of the buildings are 2-story and some 3. This is the landscape plan that was submitted as well. So, as an example, they submitted these elevations so you get a general idea of what the buildings will look like. They do have, in phase 1, a 2-story next to a 3-story, and then in phase 2, a 2-story next to a 3-story.
I think they changed that. I think the 2 stories are both together now.
Okay. So, just wanted to show you those. They are offering that as an example of their architectural elevations.
Yeah. Those 2 are both 2-story, and those 2 are both 3-story now.
Okay. Other than that, I did have a discussion with the applicant about the height, and it does appear that, along with other developments that are similar to this one in the past couple of years, that the 35-foot limitation is not going to work for this project, and they will likely need to go to BOZA and ask for a height variance. So I did add that here in my notes as well, and you'll see it in the report. Other than that, looks like the sidewalks are in on Cheney, so I don't think.
Bless you.
I do have stuff on this one.
Yeah, that, as long as, with existing sidewalks, I don't believe there's much to say about those, unless, of course, they do widening, whatnot, again, along Old Nashville. So I'll turn it over now to engineering. Thanks.
All right, the plans that are in your packet do not meet the fire marshal's comments. The engineer has worked back and forth closely with the fire marshal and with me, and he has submitted plans, got them today, that Fire Marshal Brinkley has reviewed, and these not only comply, they're a little bit over the top, and we might actually be pulling some asphalt out of this for aesthetic reasons. But so the plans in your packet that were submitted by the deadline date do not address the comments, but he has submitted plans that do. So it's at the discretion of the board.
Well, I would not feel comfortable voting on this without first seeing the plans, as well as seeing if the Board of Zoning Appeals approves the variance, because if they don't approve the variance, that's going to necessitate another change to the plans, and we don't do any of this on contingencies, as we've gotten burned in the past with it. So I would make the motion to defer this.
Can I speak first?
Yes, please.
Do you need my name again? Okay. Scott Williams, 4530 Annalee Way, Knoxville, Tennessee 37921. In regard to the fire marshal's comments, if you want to take a look at it so that we can easier explain, there was confusion as to there's a requirement for a 15 to 30 foot distance from the building for a fire lane alongside the buildings. So one of two sides of those two southern buildings has to be within. All that means is that grass strip behind the sidewalk in the building has to be shrunk by about 5 feet to comply. What I had heard is that the center line of that had to be within 15 to 30 feet. And so I came in and put a fire lane very similar to what a mall might have between that side of the building and the parking lot. So you had lane, and then, so that's what that shows. That's why they're talking. I talked to Curtis earlier today, and he said he looked at it and he apologized that we had the confusion, and that he would be fine with exactly what I have up there as long as I shrink that grass strip back down to where it's in compliance. That's a very easy change. Don't think that it would cause too much trouble to do on my plans there. I could even just scoot the building over and not change the parking lots at all. And I mean, we're just talking 4 or 5 feet to get it in compliance. In regard to the building height, we could build the buildings without the variance right now. It's just we have to make sure that the top of the eave or the top of the building, I guess the apex in this case, doesn't exceed 35 feet. So to do that, we have to drop the ceilings to 8 foot. We would prefer not to do that, but that's really nothing that has to be approved, I don't believe, at site plan level, because there was actually nothing that had, we gave the elevations just for the ability for you guys to see what it looked like on the outside. It's not required by zoning. So if we hadn't shown that, you probably wouldn't have realized that the buildings are actually above 35 feet tall. So that's what I'm saying is we would like to do that for the sell or the rentability of the actual building to keep the ceilings at 9 feet. But we already got a backup plan if we needed to just drop to 8 foot ceilings for those.
Right.
So I'm not trying to skimp through on you. I'm just saying these are very, very minor items in comparison to the list of items that I had 2 weeks ago after the workshop that we got through. Curtis is happy with everything we've done, and he said he's perfectly fine with their plan of shrinking the green space, and we would love to move forward with it tonight.
Well, it's for at least, I speak for myself, but I've been on this board for about 6 years now, and this, as far as being able to review whatever changes, even if they're minor, as well as knowing if a variance is going to be needed or not. I mean, that's something I know I personally would like to know in any of our new developments coming in. And anyone else can weigh in your thoughts with this.
Yeah, I agree. I want to hear what the zoning board says. Again, just not having clarification on the building heights, you know, and I do understand you could make that change, but I approve nothing unless I've got it all here as is going forward. And so I would second the motion now.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Does anyone else have any comments?
I do, Mr. Chairman, yes. So we have 16 other applicants here. I know you're not familiar
Yeah,
with the
I'm
book.
sorry.
16 other people on this agenda.
Yes.
They came to the workshop and they were all told the same way to make the necessary changes in accordance with staff and this board's recommendations and have it in by the preceding Monday. All the other applicants have done that. You haven't done that.
I'm going to tell you I did.
Okay. Well,
And the reason I say that is I did. They know that I spoke with them and I made all the changes prior to the deadline that I was supposed to make. I was unable to make the final change with the fire marshal because I could not get a hold of the fire marshal.
understand. Let me throw another. That's fine. It's understand that. That's what your position is. I
No,
understand.
it's
But
the truth.
let me throw another one at you then.
Okay,
There's one entrance for this facility.
2.
There's two?
Yes, sir.
Where's the second one at?
It's on the plan.
Okay. So my question is, on the northern part, looking at that picture behind you, is the reason why you're not building on the area?
It's sinkholes.
It's all sinkholes, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we just, we're already having to deal with sinkholes on the other part of the site, and that site has large amounts, so it's just going to stay as is.
I understand.
We're also proposing to improve a large amount of Cheney Boulevard. We haven't talked about that, and a turn lane on Old Nashville Pike, which is a huge city improvement for you guys that, we haven't even spoken about. The traffic study did not require any of that, but we're willing to do it to be good stewards for the community.
And I do have one question about that. Gary, you were just kind of lasering the top portion of that. Can you get Bo to zoom in on that? Yeah, that area right there. Because I was the one who requested as far as the extra lane and for both Old Nashville, the turn lane, and for Cheney. On the Old Nashville side, that one section that's adjacent, go a little bit further up, please, a little bit more. So you've got where the sidewalk kind of diagonals into the middle of that property. Is there a way to have that flush at the very top with the property?
Yes, I can, yes.
Just shifting that over, that gives a little bit more for that turn lane, which will hopefully help traffic go through there. I know we've got some residents in the audience right now who live and go through this area. I go through this area quite a bit with my kids and my wife working over at the high school. So there's a lot of traffic congestion over there.
I surveyed out
And
there,
so
I agree.
This extra laneage helps.
And I could leave it even wider back there. We just don't have the right to go beyond our
Right, you
property.
can't go beyond your, I understand
I
that.
wish we could in this
So-
instance, it would actually make sense to widen it further. But yes, I could put the sidewalk all the way back at the right of way. And that way, if you did come back in the future and gain control over that next property and you wanted to extend that right turn lane, you could do that.
Okay.
Because I've designed it for a 35-mile-an-hour road deceleration at a stop sign, but it doesn't give you much queuing at the,
Right.
and of course the right lane doesn't need as much because they typically can make that movement quicker.
Okay.
Anyway, I understand. Was the motion to defer or to?
We have a motion to defer and we have a second. So we have to vote on that. I was just giving any other opportunity for conversation before a vote. Does anyone else have anything? Okay, we have a motion. We have a second to defer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We will see you next month. Moving on to number 11, site plan, Walmart remodel, and 3,499 square feet addition to existing store requested by Carlson Consulting Engineers Incorporated, property located at 5511 Murfreesboro Road, tax map 18, parcel 2, C2 Highway Service Zoning District, property owned by Walmart Incorporated. Mr. Logan.
So this is a request for site plan approval. The existing Walmart Supercenter is going to expand their online grocery pickup area. So you can see on the screen the existing Walmart site. This site is about 40 acres total. And this is a closer view so you can see the sea of parking in the front, and this is Murfreesboro Road to the south. So they are proposing to build an addition as shown in the plans, and at the end of this project, the building total size will be 190,400 square feet. And the zoning map, of course, this is zone C2, Highway Service Commercial. There's some existing photos of the building there. So if you're familiar with the site, as you look toward Walmart, if you're looking at the building, the grocery pickup is to the left, there on the north side of the building, as you can see there in that photo. So this is the site plan submitted, and again, you can see this inset map at the top left. They're showing again that north side. That's the only changes being proposed. This expansion area is 3,499 square feet. So the addition's about 3,500 square feet, and you can see the additional spaces that they'll be putting in. The existing spaces will go from 10 to 32 spaces with this plan. And I believe, I just have a general note on planning that the signs are not automatically approved with this site plan. If they meet the city's requirements, they can get a sign permit, but if they exceed what's in the zoning ordinance, they have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And that's the only comments. I don't believe any department has any left.
Do we have a representative for this project? If you would please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Connor Blanchard. I'm with Carlson Consulting Engineers, 7068 Ledgestone Commons, Bartlett, Tennessee.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? I have one. It mentions in here that all of the light fixtures are being repainted and the bolts redone. Trying to get back over to it. It's let's see, which one is this? C2.1. It mentions you're going to be Walmart will be repainting all light pole bases and replace bolt covers where required. So does this include the downed street, or not street, but pole light that's in the parking lot right now as well? It'll be replaced?
Yes, sir. Should be.
Okay. And are all these lights, are they LED or are they fluorescent?
There should be fluorescent. I don't believe they're LED.
Okay. Any chance they would consider going to LED like the rest of the city?
I'm not sure. I can look into that, but I'm not sure.
Board, your thoughts on that?
I mean, LED is certainly an energy saver and a cost saver long term, so it would be nice if they could consider it.
I agree.
Correct?
Agreed.
You're never really a quiet one.
It's a light situation.
Okay. So with that, do you want us to vote on this as is, or do you want to come back next month with that kind of answer as far as about LED? Because it would be kind of up in the air on that part.
Sure. I'm not sure exactly how you mean vote on.
Well, we can either go ahead and vote on it as it is, or you can check with your clients about changing out the pole lights, the ballast to LED, and come back to the workshop and let us know. And then we'd vote on it next month.
Are you saying it would be denied if we, as
No,
now?
I don't know how it would be. I'm not making the motion on this.
I understand.
but-
I would prefer, I mean, if we voted now, I could still go look in to see, if they would be willing to do LEDs.
It would have to come back. Bo, is that right? It'd have to come back through planning. They're going to change out
I
their.
don't think with the light bulb change, there's nothing in our ordinance that speaks to light bulbs, not in zoning.
Okay. Okay.
Right, and so with that being said, it can also just be a request.
Yes.
I'm not sure that it can be a requirement.
Okay. So I'll open it up at this point for any motions.
I'll make a motion to approve with a request to consider LED lighting, and we look forward to your answer.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Number 12, concept plan, Mission Hills Apartments, 324 apartment units on 22.9 acres, requested by SEC, property located at 703 Waldron Road, tax map 29, parcel 22.14, R3 High Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by John M. Gilliland Living Trust. Mr. Logan.
Thank you. So this is a request for concept plan approval. This is a new concept plan that's different than the one last year for Mission Hills. You can see the site there on the screen. I'm trying to decide if it looks like an alligator. It looks like some type of cartoon character to me. Just in time for Halloween.
Matt got creative is what you're saying.
So this site, they're changing the building layout. The main thing is they had 9 buildings last year, and they'd like to change that to 7 buildings. And then you probably noticed building 1 has become a very large building with the changes in this concept plan. So there's the zoning map. This is all R3, which is high-density residential, and it's had that zoning for many years. So site photos, you can see all the work they're doing, clearing trees and getting ready to put in roads. And there's another photo of the site. It's a very large site. And then this is looking back toward Waldron Road, so this is what it looks like this week, but it'll be changing quickly. So moving on to the site plan. So here is the updated layout for the buildings. And you can see there buildings 1 through 7. And then closest to Waldron Road is building 1, which I mentioned earlier. So it is now a very large building, shaped like a C. You can see also there are garages that have been added so that the residents can park some of the units. I'm sure it's a premium, but they'll be available anyway. So close-up view, this shows proposed building 1 again, and this is Waldron Road to the left. So this is one of the sites that received a variance back in April at the Board of Zoning Appeals, the height variance that we've talked about a few times tonight. So these are all showing as 4-story buildings, and they're allowed to do that because of the variance that was granted. Then the south side of the site, you can see again the detached garages and the rest of buildings 2 through 5 and the south side of 1. Another view here, you can see this is proposed detention, and then these are single-family lots here, numbers 10 through 15, and they will be built in another phase of this overall project, but this is Vanguard Drive, which will be built to serve those single-family lots. So that's just the adjacent site or adjacent homes to the north. They are proposing 728 parking spaces, and that's what the city requires, 728, so no issue with parking. That completes the report, and I don't see any other comments.
If you could go to the site plan, I'll point one thing out real quick. The overall site plan, please. There.
That one.
All right, just from the comments last week, y'all recall before there was a single egress out and the 3-lane egress and ingress egress in, and we had the gate that was too close here and had some stacking issues, so they did move the gate over here and here, and they put those 3 lanes back in that they had inadvertently taken out for the workshop. So even though these have been swapped, it is the same concept that y'all approved with an egress only and an ingress-egress main entrance up here.
Any other comments from you guys? Staff? Do we have a representative for this project? Who would please state your name and address for the record?
Yes, sir. Matt Taylor of SEC, 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Matt, mind you, I was not here for the workshop. Can you explain the alligator?
That is the way that the property wound up getting carved up as Mr. Pierce has started selling some of this to the detached lot developer. So I'll give that credit to Dave.
There's no plan to put apartments though back there.
No, sir. Most of that is some of the old pond and stream buffers. So really, it's not usable land for us with this project.
Okay. And then with the garages, I take it that there's going to be more apartments than there are garages.
Yes, sir. And so those wind up getting a premium on the rent for people that want to come in and sign up for one.
Okay. And then the emergency access lane, is the width of that little road frontage, is that going to match up with Walnut Ridge Drive? currently, at least on the design, doesn't look like it does.
So I think what you're seeing there is the difference between the right-of-way and the drive, but it will be the standard 24 feet wide pavement, so absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Anyone have any questions?
Oh, the questions you had was, I'm good.
One other question which I'm curious about is there a sidewalk on the front part of it, on the Waldron Road portion?
So we show one there. I'm not sure if the city is building that or if we are, but either way, we want one. So if the city builds that with a widening, great. If not, then we would like to build one for ourselves. So,
Gary, do we need to work out any kind of development agreement for the future? I don't know why the city wouldn't put a sidewalk there with the widening project, but.
It is part of the widening project, the sidewalk across there. And that's going to be phase 2 of the Waldron widening.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
thank you.
I accept any motions.
Motion approved is submitted.
Have a motion to approve or second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to number 13. Amend to site plan, U-Haul. Add phase line for existing 10-acre site requested by SEC. Property located at 503 New Paul Road, tax map 017, parcel 40.03, I-2 Heavy Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Americo Real Estate Company. Mr. Logan.
This request is from U-Haul. This request is to change a phase line at their existing site on New Paul Road. And on the screen here, you can see the property outlined in blue. This property is right on top of I-24, so there's the interstate that cuts through the image there. The zoning is dark blue, which is heavy industrial, I-2 zoning. This is a photo of the existing building. So you may remember they presented a plan in 2019 timeframe to build this new climate-controlled facility. So this is the climate-controlled facility that's closest to I-24. Then the rear of the property at that time was supposed to be covered parking for RVs, boats, and vehicles of that nature. And then about halfway or so through the construction process, they decided to go a different route and not do the covered parking. But that meant that they could not complete their site plan and get a CO, so they had to come back and do an amendment. So now what you have today is the bare, or I should say the area with no covered parking, because that was removed in their second site plan, which happened in roughly late 2020, early 21. So that's the reasoning for the asphalt as it is today. They are proposing, you can see another photo there of the site. They are proposing down the road 2 more buildings, but they, on that site plan from 21, had these buildings that are shown. So that's building B and C. They had those in the same phase, and they need to change that so that they're not held and end up in a situation where they can't get a CO in one of those buildings because they're on the same lot. So the only change they're proposing tonight is to move this phase line, which is clouded here. That's what the cloud is for. And their engineers put that on there. So this line here is a difference in phase 2 and 3. So building C will end up in its own phase, which is phase 3. And there's no comments, but we'll be happy to answer questions.
Okay, does anyone have any comments, questions? Okay, I entertain a motion.
Motion approved is submitted.
I have a motion to approve as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to 14, site plan, Arbor Ridge Amenity Center, new building consisting of 1,586 square feet on 2.04 acres, requested by SEC Incorporated, property located on Snowdrop Avenue, tax map 32, parcel 4.04, PDR Planned Density Residential Zoning District, property owned by Ashton Woods. Mr. Logan.
So this request tonight is for Arbor Ridge. This is the amenity center the mayor spoke about. They're proposing a one-story building that would be 1,586 square feet and a swimming pool and associated parking areas. So this is the parcel that's been carved out through platting, and this is the subject parcel for this amenity center that's being proposed. To the left is Waldron Road that runs north and south, and this large white shape down to the bottom left is Rock Springs Elementary School at Lake Road in Waldron. So the zoning map, this is all zone PDR, which is planned density residential. So this development has a mixture of housing types as well as commercial properties. And this is a site photo of all the construction and earth moving going on. And you've probably seen, I was out there today, they have, I would say roughly eight to nine houses that are coming up out of the ground, and some of those have roofs and walls already, so it's moving along. This is another photo looking south. So up here to the right is Waldron Road on the higher ground. And we'll take a look here at the site plan. I made a mistake.
We're going to call that a technical
I can
and
just
not a
click over
user
here and I'll come
error.
back. Here we go. Let me go back. Okay. So the site plan they submitted, as the mayor mentioned, is on Snowdrop Avenue. And this is the layout. Move in here. I'll zoom in. So you can see just how many lots are being proposed. It's a large development, but we're just talking about this area here in the center. So they're showing the amenity center, the mail kiosks, the pool, and the pool deck area, as well as some green space and open space. And this image will show you the close-up of the pool and the amenity center. So you can see the shape here of the pool and the deck area. They've got mail kiosks to the left of the amenity center. That'd be the north side. And also a playground area to the north side. And then there's a retaining wall shown here behind the pool area. And then this is a multi-use path greenway area. It's 8 foot wide concrete greenway in this area.
Wow.
And you can see there's several connecting sidewalks on both sides. And there's another walking trail path that'll be concrete that has some steps over here to the north side as well. And then the parking. So this is Snowdrop Avenue, and then there'll be 2 ways to access the amenity center and the parking. And then you can see the parking spaces as they're arranged. The pool is 2,562 square feet, and there's 39 parking places that are shown. The city requires 17, so 39 is more than double, so they have ample parking. All the staff comments have been addressed. I see one from Scott Tatovich, so I'll turn that over to Mr. Lyden.
Was the one from Scott? Oh, the utilities comment is actually a plumbing comment. It's not a site plan type of comment. It's just very, very detailed. One thing I wanted to point out, there was a very good discussion regarding the original PDR improvements that were shown versus what was on this. 3 topics. One was kiddie pool versus a larger pool. The other was fire pits versus grills, and the last was trellises. So this is a larger pool than when it was originally approved in the PDR, and they had discussion with the board members about how that is preferable to a kiddie pool situation. The barbecue grills or the grill stations, which they promised, have been shown, and the trellises have been shown. So they have responded to my understanding or my recollection of y'all's wishes at the workshop.
Do we have a representative for this project?
C 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard, Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Anyone have any questions? Matt, one question, the mail kiosk, that's just for the center section of the development, or is that for the entire Arbor Ridge development?
I think we intend for it to be for the entire development.
Oh, wow. So it's
We
gonna
may-
be large.
Yes. We may have a temporary one. As Mr. Logan said, we've got some homes being built. We're going to put up a temporary box somewhere while we build this, but this does, I think we want this to be for the entire project. So it'll have a lot of boxes there.
USPS required
Yeah, they don't want multiple locations, so
Yeah, we've been running into that. They state that they prefer the boxes for rural areas, although we're right next to Nashville, so.
yeah, I don't disagree.
But, okay. Would anyone like to make any motions?
Motion to approve.
A motion to approve, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 15, site plan, Burger King remodel and dual drive-through addition to existing store, requested by Technical Group Incorporated, property located at 5099 Murfreesboro Road, tax map 15, parcel 2.17 C2 Highway Service Zoning District, property owned by Carol's Restaurant Group Incorporated. Mr. Logan.
So this is a site plan for the remodel and the addition of a dual drive-through to the existing quick-serve restaurant that's currently located on Murfreesboro Road, known as Burger King. This site is a little under an acre, 0.91, and you can see the location on the screen. It's just up from City Hall. You can walk there from here. The zooming in, you can see existing layout. Here's the corner of Murfreesboro Road and Madison Square Boulevard. And the traffic circulation currently, the drive-through is located on the north side of the building, and then you wrap around and receive the order there on the side facing Murfreesboro Road. So they're going to add, you'll see in a minute, they're going to add the dual drive-through back here. They're also making quite a few changes to the building and the exterior design. So the ingress egress for the site is not going to change. And one note, one of the planning notes we talked about 2 weeks ago, there is a sidewalk you can see here on the ortho, but there was never a sidewalk, of course, on Madison Square. So staff asked Burger King to add this sidewalk on Madison Square. The Sir Pizza building does have a sidewalk, and it ends right where I'm pointing, so you can see
Right at their
that
property line.
not having that connection is does not benefit anyone. So the property here is zoned, of course, C2 commercial, and existing photos. This is the building from, this is the side facing Kroger or southeast, and you can see the co-op buildings in the distance to the left. And then this photo is from the south side of the building, or the Murfreesboro Road side. And there's one more with the Simply Storage building peeking out there just above the car wash. So their plans include, of course, remodeling entirely the inside of the building. They're also tearing down most of the exterior, and we'll be replacing that. We do have a materials board because it's in the overlay district, so they're required to comply with the brick and stone requirements. So this is the site plan they're proposing. And you can see there's a lot of notes on here. They're going to remove plants in certain areas and add landscaping in others. There's an enlarged drive-through plan on this sheet that shows the dual drive-through. They have a site lighting sheet, so that's also shown on the screen right now. Then these are all building plans. This is the architectural, the sheet for the architectural elevations that they've submitted. So you can see the changes that they're making. And there was a note we talked about 2 weeks ago about increasing the height of the building, but I know the consultant said they're actually not increasing the height, but that was shown on that plan. So I'll let them explain that.
I've got the one comment.
Other than that,
Can you go to the landscape
just
plan?
one comment that Gary has.
There's a comment amongst from the utilities department, and that is that there's a lot of utilities out in here where these trees are planted, and he requested that the utility lines be shown in order so that we can avoid any conflicts between the root balls as they're putting these things in or hitting one of the lines out there, and that is not shown right now. That's the only engineering or utilities comment.
Okay, do we have a representative for this project? If you would, state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Shaheen Boumaroun with Technical Group, 27300 Haggerty Road, Suite F2, Farmington Hills, Michigan.
Does anyone have any questions?
I've got a question maybe for Bo on the sidewalk that's being added. Is the existing sidewalk that's in front of Sir Pizza also 6 foot, or is it more narrow? Do we know?
I believe that's a 5-foot wide sidewalk.
And this when the one that's going in will be 6 foot.
We were asked to put a 6-foot.
Okay.
Yeah, we can check on that. I don't know if Madison Square would have been on a road that requires a 6-foot. It's usually just Murfreesboro, Waldron, and Old Nashville.
Okay.
But if it's wider, then it'll be more than they have to put in.
The existing shrubbery as you exit onto Madison Square,
Gone.
good, because that's a horrible visibility.
That was,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
The elevations, do we have color ones? Like the ones I've got are pretty much black and white with maybe a little bit of blue on them.
The board has.
The materials board here is color down here.
And there.
We sent in colored ones too.
Like,
Yeah, there's,
oh, okay. See, I was looking at the materials, not the, Would y'all consider a different color other than copper?
That's not up to me. If that's your recommendation, we will take it to Burger King, so.
I'm just asking. I don't know what everyone else thinks, but this is the copper. Thoughts, anyone?
Maybe I would ask if their design has other suggestions. I mean,
Not at this time, because this is what they call the Sizzle building, which is brand-new Burger King building,
okay,
and they don't have any variation of colors or material yet.
okay,
Maybe a couple of years down the line, maybe, but
Right.
not now.
okay. And I did see a couple signage variations. One had a crown and looks like was there two different types of signs?
On the side of the building,
Yeah.
may I? There is just the Burger King sign.
Right.
There was originally the crown on the
Mhm.
side, but it did not meet the signage, so we removed it.
Okay. Okay, I think that's what I saw in the packet here.
Okay.
Thank you.
But you can hold on to it, yeah. No, that was just a suggestion from me, but
You know, I mean, looking at other sizzle concepts, it's not as coppery as you think.
Oh, you Googled it?
Yeah, so I found a sizzle restaurant. It's very warm and inviting and hygge. And, yeah.
well, I know we've had lots of problems with printers and colors and,
Yeah.
okay.
Here, let's bring in
We
a
want it to look like that.
This is a sizzle.
We want it to look like the burger on the menu.
It's not as coppery as, you know.
The picture.
Okay. Okay. That seems to sizzle.
sizzle.
Anyone else have any comments, questions?
Thank you, on the sidewalk in the bushes.
No problem. I'll make a motion to accept as submitted. Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Item number 16, final plat, Laverne Business Center, 2 lots on 28.7 acres requested by Barge Design. Property located at 1701 Mars Street, tax map 14, parcels 46.01 and 25, I-1 Light Industrial Zoning District, property owned by Big Acquisitions LLC. Mr. Logan.
Thanks. So this is the final plat for the earlier site plans. Back in the summer, the applicant submitted them at different times, so the site plans came before you all and had to go on to old business, and the plat was submitted later, so that's why it's on new business and later in the agenda. But the purpose of this plat is to create the 2 new lots. Again, that'll be Lot 1 for Building 1 and Lot 2 for Building 2 of the Laverne Business Center. And roughly, this is about 28 acres, give or take. And if you've forgotten, it's located off Minerva and Mars Street, north of Murfreesboro Road. And here's some photos again. This is Minerva. This is toward the end of Minerva, and then looking back toward Murfreesboro Road. And you can see just how narrow the street is today. But this plat includes all of the right-of-way dedication that will take place and allow for the widening of Minerva and installation of the sidewalk. And there also will be the cul-de-sac that you can see here. This cul-de-sac will be constructed by the developer and then allow access on to lots 1 and 2. And other than that, I don't believe there were any staff comments, so I'd be happy to answer questions.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? I'll make a motion to accept. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Moving on to bonds and letters of credit. Ms. Juliet.
Good evening, Commissioners. You should have the bond list in front of you. Everything is up to date, and I have also contacted the bank for the one that expires next month. And that's it.
Okay. With that, call this meeting adjourned.